Hey everybody, with the coronavirus pandemic affecting all of us, you're probably wondering, what does this mean to my ACH processing? What does it mean to getting files out and to processing of returns? So what exactly does that mean? Well, stay tuned, I got a lot more for you. In fact, let's just skip the intro video. I mentioned getting files out and processing of returns. Let's start with the getting of files out. If you are an ODFI, if you are processing, if you're sending those files on behalf of your account holders, your originators, possibly even yourself, then the sending of those files, that's going to be covered by your agreement. It's going to depend on what you're able to do. If you're unable to process files, then you should be getting instructions out to your account holders and your originators of what can or cannot be done. Be proactive in that. Let them know what's available, let them know what's not. Rely on your agreement and follow the plans that are in your business continuity plans, policies, and procedures for dealing with the pandemic. Yeah, you should have those provisions in your plans. Now, I want you to know we got a lot more coming up this week on those plans as far as disaster recovery and pandemic plans, but we need to go ahead and continue with this topic, getting files out and receiving them. So that covers getting files out. What about on the receiving side of things? Well, let's start with this. Wherever you can, you should still work to get your returns processed on time and files posted accordingly. Let me stress that again, wherever you can. It is possible that in some certain situations that you can invoke what we call excused delay. What is excused delay? Excused delay is something we can find in the NACHA operating rules, specifically section 1.5 on excused delay. As recently as March 9th, NACHA issued a reminder regarding ACH responsibilities to financial institutions potentially impacted by coronavirus. NACHA sent this as a reminder to financial institutions of the importance of reviewing their business continuity plans and also ensuring that they are prepared to maintain ACH processing capabilities in the event of possible disruptions. And we're starting to see possible disruptions starting to happen. The reminder also states that in addition to their own business continuity plans, financial institutions should understand the expectations of their regulators and of the ACH operators with whom they're working with regard to ACH processing in any potential scenarios of a possible workforce disruption. That was a few days ago. A lot has happened since then. If anything else comes out from NACHA or any of our regulators or operators, I'll be sure to share it. And if you hear anything, also, please be sure to share as well. The Payments Professor is taking this time to create additional videos and help everyone through this crisis. Help keep me informed, Kevin@paymentsprofessor.com, and I'll keep everyone else informed as I can. But let's continue. I'll put a link to the NACHA release down below in the comments. I also want you to know there's an EPCOR video that I'm going to put a link to down below in the comments as well. What exactly do the NACHA operating rules permit a financial institution to do? They permit a financial institution to delay performance of its obligations under the rules beyond required time limits if the delay was caused by an interruption of communication or computer facilities and, big important and the delay was beyond the reasonable control of the financial institution seeking the excused delay. Whether a delay is beyond the reasonable control of the party asserting an excused delay must be determined based on the available facts and circumstances surrounding the delay, including whether the financial institution exercised the level of due diligence required under the circumstances. A delay that is caused in whole or in part by the failure of a financial institution to maintain or implement an appropriate business continuity plan is not excused under the rules for that financial institution. You must have a business continuity plan, and if it didn't include a pandemic planning portion, it better now. Stay tuned, like I said, we're gonna have more of that coming this week. Let's still stay focused on excused delay. Excused delay is intended to apply to processing delays caused by those interruptions of communications or interruptions of computer facilities that is, again, out of control of the institution. That could be things like weather emergencies or acts of God or act of war or maybe a pandemic, right? This rule, though, is not intended to excuse delays due to general failure of a financial institution or a processor's computer system or other equipment. That stuff's to be addressed in a contingency plan. It's also important to note that the financial institutions that are in geographical areas where weather extreme conditions are routine, well then, they should already have something in their business continuity plans to be able to address when workers cannot get to work and how to be able to handle those situations. Whatever you do, don't rely on the excuse today rule. It is there to complement the rules and be able to help you, but only rely on it if you have to. You should have your plans in place. Now, if your institution's ability to process returns is impacted by circumstances where excuse delay is applicable, once your systems are operational, you should then originate your return transactions as normally as you would. Now, this can be applicable if you're unable to get to a location where the returns can be processed. For example, during the search for the Boston Marathon bombing suspects, roads were actually closed and blocked, preventing people from being able to get to the office to be able to process files. I know they've got plans in place now, so if they can't get there, hopefully you do too. If the same thing does start to happen with the coronavirus, that you are prevented by federal, state, or local government interactions from being able to get to the office, then it may be considered excuse delay. However, it may be a good idea to have a contingency plan put in place now, if you don't already have one, that will allow for safe and secure return processing from another location. Excuse delay basically allows for sending of late returns for our stated circumstances. But what if you receive those returns back from the ODFI as dishonored returns bearing a code of R68, untimely return? What do you do then? Well, then you should contest the dishonored return using the return code R73, timely original return. If the ODFI contacts you for clarification, you should explain that you're using the excuse delay provision of the NACHA operating rules. It is on you to prove that you are within the excuse delay parameters. You may, though, choose to proactively call the ODFI before sending the original return, but you're not obligated to under the rules. Still, having problems or question about excuse delay? Then it's time to contact people like payment associations. Now, depending on where you are or which association you are a member of, there are several organizations that are out there to be able to help. Those are going to be organizations like ePay Resources. That's going to be generally in the South. EPCOR, strongly in the Midwest. NEACH, up in the New England area. And WACHA, there in Wisconsin. They're there to be able to help you. In fact, like I said, EPCOR has an awesome video. I'm going to be putting that down below so you'll be able to see that link in the comments. These organizations can help in assistance in communicating your need to invoke the excuse delay provision to other financial institutions across the country. It's like a super network of financial institutions. I'm working on another video this week, many videos coming out, that'll give more details about organizations that can help you in multiple areas during the coronavirus pandemic. Expect them by week's end. Let's get back to this though. By being proactive in your communications with other institutions, it is very helpful because those types of communications can help reduce the number of dishonored returns you receive. You should be aware that some ODFIs, though, they may not handle contested dishonored returns or contested returns and dishonored returns in a way that you think is correctly, and they might dishonor it again. Wait, how's that happen? Well, you see, a lot of these processes, they're automated. And if the system isn't set up to capture an item that would normally be late or accepted late, then it just automatically sends it back. Well, it seems like everybody's plugged into media of what's happening and developing. Some may not realize they need to make adjustments to their software or more closely monitor returns that are being dishonored for being late. And truth is, they're not obligated to have to do so anyway. You are allowed to execute excuse delay if you are under the provisions of the NACHA operating rules. But again, contact your payment association for any assistance if you have any problems with this. With all that is happening, we all need to stick together right now, and we all need to find solutions that will work together. If there's an issue you are facing, if there is a problem that is unexpected, caused by the virus pandemic, then please message or email me, kevin@paymentsprofessor.com. And we are going to do our best to keep you informed. We're going to have things coming out daily. We're going to have information coming out for you daily and made available to you. If you're restricted from travel and in need of some education or continuing education credits, don't worry. We're working on that as well. We're going to have solutions in place. Let us know how we can help you through this. The Payments Professor is here to serve you.